Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
This is the Geek Podcast with Jishnu and Tejas.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of the Geek Food Podcast with me, Tejas, and Jishnu.
Hello.
Hi, you're supposed to sing your nerd song.
No, not today.
Not today?
Not now.
Not now.
Yeah, you will never know when it's coming.
We usually do it at the top of the show. That's
Well,
why.
not anymore.
Is it because today is a fairly serious episode?
Today is also, yes, a fairly serious episode.
It's not serious, it's just more realistic.
What?
Okay,
No.
so let me start. Let me append the beginning of this episode with a true story from a week ago. And you know, there's a lot of... we live in India, which is not the easiest country to live in because of...
What is the easiest country to live in?
Probably Finland, isn't it?
Why not
Norway?
Switzerland?
Norway or
Switzerland is like, you know...
I don't know, man.
The neutral.
Do you think we stereotype these Scandinavian countries?
Yes,
Just-
and it's fun.
and they just go like, we're actually mean and aggressive. I don't know why they sound like they're jocks.
I mean, yeah,
But like,
it's not
"Yeah,
it's not
man."
the worst stereotype in the world to say like, hey, you guys are like really cool and have no beef with anybody and nobody has beef with you.
Yeah, it's like, I guess Canadians
There are a lot
also
of
try to
worse.
say...
There are a lot worse stereotypes.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. They have no right. It's like people who complain about thin shaming. It's a thing, but like if you do it, if you're saying, I'm against thin shaming...
So what the hell was your original point?
Sorry, my original point is that this country is not easy to live in. We have a lot of problems with our government and, politicians who infiltrate our government. I use the word infiltrate very seriously there. But yeah, man, I don't know if you saw this article that came out last week. Last week. The article said, and this is what everyone was upset about, is that the Big Brother is actually happening here in India, and that the government is going to now 24/7 monitor our social media and basically try and catch dissent and, anti-social, basically also, the whole seditious kind of thing that has been, the word of the month. Basically catch all these sentiments, catch any, comments or any anti-patriotic or nationalist, sentiments, and then basically try and shut them down before they even happen. And that was a real thing. And so everyone was like, oh my God, Big Brother's finally here. Oh my God, Orwellian kind of nightmare is now, and stuff like that. But I just read into the article again before this episode, and I was just reading it. It says that basically it was already there. It existed. Like, there is a team that, scans Twitter and scans Facebook and all these things, and they try and find all these people, and I don't know what they do to them. Maybe there's a room somewhere without any security cameras, but what the actual thing what it does say is that it exists, and now what they're doing is they're pumping more funds into it, and they're making it 24/7 now. So they basically need a larger team to collate information, and this is verbatim, to collate the information so that they can and put an end to it. So that's basically what the article is about. It's not that, this is something that just started. It's been there for a while. And in our very own form of almost NSA kind of thing, this is a problem. in a, so to speak, democracy. Which is what I thought this would be a good way to start our episode about Black Mirror.
Well, I have a question first about Big Brother. I've asked you this before.
Yes.
I don't know if you've thought about this further since.
Why is it Big Brother and not Sister?
Well, that's a great question. It is Women's Day.
That's true. It is
International
Women's Day. Yeah.
Hey, look at that being topical about everything like that.
Also, it's IBM Podcast's birthday.
But we don't talk about them.
That's too meta?
We don't acknowledge their existence. Do we? No?
Yeah, we do.
We should. Should we sing Happy Birthday? No,
We
let's not
should.
do
Maybe that could be your song for the day.
Ooh, give me
Happy Nerds Day to you.
I'll need a minute or 50.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. But yeah, guys, sorry, this is the question you want to pose to me.
Yeah, the question I wanted to pose to you, which I did before, was so it's Big Brother, circa what
1984?
yeah, basically what it is in the States and whatnot. Similar to that, I'd asked, why is it called Uncle Sam? And if it's Uncle Sam to the States, what is the equivalent of Big Brother in India? It should have an uncle name.
Right.
It should have. So I thought the word bhai should be in it. My closest hypothesis was bhai being Salman Khan. So Salman Khan is watching you.
Everyone is bisexual in India. These
But I feel like you can't say Bada Bhai is watching
Bada
you.
Bhai.
Like that.
Well,
I don't think that
well,
translates.
so
we
Big
need
Brother-
that should be the Indian version of Big Brother.
Well, if you want to take it in a very zeitgeisty kind of way. Big Brother was the name of the show that was there in the UK, and we had Big Boss over here. So I don't know, Big Boss.
Big Boss is watching you.
It doesn't have the same effect. I think it's also because it's just been diluted so much by the television show, the reality show, or maybe Escalator. I don't know.
Escalator?
Yeah, escalated.
Escalated.
The meaning of Big Boss. I don't know. So there's no harm in admitting that the kind of discussions that we have, it's a minority. We're in a minority, and not a lot of people actually have the same kind of feels about Big Brother and all that stuff over here.
But no, you're right. You're right in saying that this is very much a problem that we're having to deal with quite a bit right now, and it's happening in the States as well with the Apple thing. You heard about that, right? Like a few weeks ago.
Go ahead.
You didn't see about this? Apple posted a thing on their website, like a message to customers, because the U.S. government was sort of mandating that they need to make all iPhones and I guess
iPads,
the entire iOS database or whatever it is to the U.S. government. So in case if the government needs to look up somebody's records or like somebody's emails or somebody's text messages and phone calls, whatnot, the government can access that. And then it's a big push-pull of,
this is from,
privacy.
I always saw Apple's name feature in that whole, the whole Edward Snowden thing, is that, corporations are being almost like held to, not ransom, but they're just being held to, by the government, saying that it is your, if you have to be that large a corporation, or if you have that much of information in a database, then it is your whatever responsibility or something to pass it on to the government, blah, blah, blah. It passes through many servers, which is what the whole, Edward Snowden thing was about. So I think Apple is always featured in that list. I believe Yahoo, Google, everybody is pretty much there. Google is almost like a front runner in trying to, a very Black Mirror style, and we'll get to it, but trying to, document all the knowledge and all the data and everything together under one roof. And they're doing it with Google Glass and, basically everything that you see, it's all there. So, it's like, Black Mirror is less of a science fiction kind of dystopian kind of look at the future. It's more like exactly what happens now. And actually, it's a good point. I want to read out exactly how Black Mirror was described by its creator, Charlie Brooker, who we should also talk about after a short break.
Sure.
But yeah, so I'm going to leave it at this. This is what he said. He said, if technology is a drug, and it does feel like a drug, then what precisely are the side effects? This area between delight and discomfort is where Black Mirror, my new drama series, is set. The Black Mirror of the title is the one you'll find on every wall, on every desk, in the palm of every hand, the cold, shiny screen of a TV, a monitor, or a smartphone, which is what I'm looking at to read this up. So
That's deep, bro.
Yeah, it's as prescient as it gets. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Black Mirror and the fact that it's coming back. So that's why I guess we'll do a rerun on the series. Rerun. Okay, cool. So I'll be back after a short break, I guess.
Now, if you want to listen to some brilliant indie music from all over the country, it's really simple. You can find me on Made in India. That's madeinindia.in. My name is May, and it's spelled M-A-E-D. Now, I've had some great artists on the show, including the likes of Nikhil D'Souza, The Cognac Net, Last Remaining Light, Tejas Menon, The Other People, Alicia Pays, Lakshmi Baum, Vasudha Sharma, Ankur Tiwari, and so many more. Now, if you want to subscribe, you can go to iTunes or Stitcher or your favorite podcast app, or you can find me on my website. That's madeinindia.in. That's M-A-E-D, or on Twitter and Facebook on Made in India.
Cool, and we're back with the Geek Fruit Podcast. You were saying something? Did you just say something mid-sentence?
I was mumbling to myself.
Okay, cool. All right, so...
actually, I'm going to tell you what I was mumbling about.
What were you mumbling about?
Really pointless and stupid.
Go for it.
I'm just looking up the wiki page for Black Mirror, and apparently it was produced by Zeppotron, which is a really great name.
It's his company.
For Endemol.
Endemol, does it the same Endemol in India?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay, cool.
I would imagine so, because I know that they're like a big multinational.
Isn't Endemol...
I actually looked into becoming an intern at Endemol years ago.
Yeah, some of my friends worked there. And I think Endemol also... I'm not sure. No, I may be wrong. But I think one of these companies, again, no, it doesn't make sense. But they're the guys who did the 24 adaptation also in India.
Oh, right, with Anil Kapoor.
Anil Kapoor, yeah. It was a good show, dude. We should talk about that show. It was great.
The movie's coming out, right? Like, they finally okayed the movie.
So I'm talking about the Indian 24. Chobis.
Maybe we'll do a
Just
CID
cartoon.
and 24 movie.
Maybe that's not a bad
24
idea.
episodes. Yeah.
24 and CID crossover.
Crossover.
Oh my god,
Oh.
dude, those CID could be an amazing 24 formatted kind of show.
Yeah.
It would be great. Why don't they ever look into that?
Why don't they just come to us for all the ideas?
All the ideas for CID.
All of the ideas. Just ask
All
us.
the
Like,
CIDs.
really, it's not that hard.
All the CIDs. Okay, cool. Right, so we're
So-
coming back.
so
Wait,
Black
before
Mirror.
that, wait, just before we get to Black Mirror, I really want to address this.
Uh-oh.
So last week we did an
I'm
episode on
scared.
Imagica.
Oh.
And Imagica totally addressed us. They said they mentioned us on Twitter. I feel
We
so
were
happy about
vindicated finally
for
after
all those months
after 26 years. I'm vindicated
by the
By a-
amusement park.
by a retweet from an amusement park.
It was great though.
2.5
It was a great
hours outside
feeling.
of Bombay.
And they said we spoke about music in our last episode, which we totally did not.
I'm pretty sure we didn't.
Yeah. Because this is a nerd podcast. I mean, we could talk about music. Unless they were talking about the song that you sing at the top of this hour.
Hey, maybe they like my vocal styling.
You have not done it yet today.
I told you you won't know when it's coming.
Alright, it better happen in this episode. Alright, cool. Let's do it. Black Mirror.
Okay.
Dystopia.
So,
Charlie
this-
Brooker. What do you think of Charlie Brooker, by the way? Have you seen any of his other stuff?
Hit me. What's he done?
So he's been like a social commentator of sorts for a while. Like, I mean, he originally started out as a writer. He used to write for Guardian. I mean, he still does. Wrote for a bunch of publications. And he's got this, the word that is thrown around, to describe him is he's got this acerbic wit. A couple of my friends, one of my friends, Harry, and another, my flatmate, Abhimanyu, both are really big into, these UK satirical kind of comedians. And he's kind of fits well within that category. But he's like also a really strong commentator on it. And so I asked them for their thoughts. And both of them had the same opinion that, yeah, Charlie Brooker's an asshole. he's pretty much an asshole. He's got he's really cynical. He makes you feel like an idiot. But I posed a question. I was like, I mean, don't you need that? I mean, once in a while, you can't sugarcoat everything. And this guy, for years and years, he's just been taking the piss out of politicians, and he's done it through his shows, which is what I was going to ask you about. So he usually does like a year in review, and he basically does the entire year and just discusses the highlights and the lowlights of the entire year, and just like destroys everybody. He did one for the prime ministerial, what do you call it, elections for the UK a couple of years ago when David Cameron got elected, and he just like one by one ruined every like candidate. He just like really destroys them on everything, and he does it and his shows really cool shows. Like the setup is he's just sitting on his couch and it's night, and so basically the reflection of his screen is what the lighting is of the show, and so he's sitting on his computer and he just looks to the side and he just looks into the camera and he speaks directly to the camera and he just
Sounds very Kevin Spacey circa House of Cards.
It is almost, yeah, and it's awesome. It's so good. He's done one for like something called Screen Wipe. He does Newsly Wipe, and he did one for gaming also. So he's done one where he basically goes through all the eras of gaming, and it is really cool. So he's been doing this for a long time, and I think Black Mirror is the perfect end output of what Charlie Brooker is.
Have you heard about Dead Set? I'm just
what is Dead Set again? Go ahead.
I'm very curious about this. It's apparently a 5-part zombie horror thriller for E4 set in the Big Brother house.
Right. Yeah, he wrote some zombie stuff. Yeah.
On paper, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Dude, I'm
a zombie series in the Big Brother house.
It's like, Charlie Brooker is almost like, I'd put him in I wouldn't put him in the category of like Stephen Moffat and all these guys who write Sherlock and stuff, but like he's
a very different kind of writer.
He's a different kind of writer,
Completely,
but like he's in terms of being a contemporary, he's only he's quite young in the sense he's only 44.
Sure.
And he's just had a prolific career, so like his best work is yet to come, for
I
sure.
hope so.
Yeah,
because he's
definitely
been pretty damn good so far.
Yeah, excellent work so far.
But speaking of his style and whatnot, and if you actually do want to, I think you could compare him to Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss.
Yeah.
In some ways, and I'm speaking specifically about Black Mirror because that's the only one I really know of his work. Much like Moffat and Gatiss, so I've seen the whole series so far, which is 3 episodes
plus
3 episodes with 2 seasons, so 6 episodes.
So there are 2 series and 3 episodes and one Christmas special, isn't it?
So there are 7 90-minute. 60 minutes to 90 minutes.
60 to 90. I'm yet to watch the couple of episodes from series 2, but I'm most of it, everything else I've seen.
So the really awesome thing about him, which is very similar to, like I said, to Gatiss and Moffat, is that his worlds all coexist in some weird way. He has these little nods to each one, and if you once you get into like series 2 and especially the last one, the Christmas special, you'll see these similarities within a few minor tech related things. People are using like similar kind of gadgets.
So he's basically made the interfaces
Yeah, exactly.
The same. Okay, cool. That's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that I always love it when that happens, and I was probably the biggest pull into Black Mirror for me. I only saw this a few months ago. I binged on it over like a week, so
cool.
it wasn't that hard, and
Right.
it was a great experience. But Black Mirror's been around since 2011.
Yeah, it's fairly. In fact, that's when I started watching. I think I saw it in like 2012, 2013-ish.
So I didn't hear
really
about it.
old, yeah, really old series.
I didn't hear about it until maybe 6 months ago when a bunch of my friends were raving about it.
That's because it came onto Netflix.
Probably,
And
yeah.
that's how it became popular in
Yeah.
the States and stuff, yeah.
So a bunch of my friends were raving about it, and they told me, it's like this dystopian thing, science fiction. I was like, oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, the thing that drew me in the most, probably the same thing that drew me into Sherlock in the first place as well, to make this cross comparison,
3
is
episodes.
the fact that it's 3 episodes, 90 minutes each, 60 minutes each. It was
Yeah.
like, I just love this new style of storytelling
It's
where
awesome.
it's just a bunch of...
It's
I
a
guess
longer episode.
Short stories. It's more like short...
Yeah,
it's like-
novellas kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, I really like that. And especially when they seem to be completely in their own world, yet there is some sort of tying thread. I just love that because it's...
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of comparison has been made to like the Twilight Zone, obviously,
Yeah.
and like Tales of the Unexpected. Twilight Zone was a lot like that. I mean, like every episode obviously is different. But the thing is that they did have like a narrator. I mean, the guy who would come in, and the way he would just announce. I can't remember his name. Shit, and this sucks. But the announcer, and he's saying these things would exist in the Twilight Zone, and then like it just continued. And I think they also dabbled with the idea of having a connecting tissue that way. But then they said, yeah, it's not working. It should just be completely separate. And I think that's what I really like about Black Mirror is that. I mean, apart from them being, like you said, there is a connective tissue. It all exists in this, it's a very British show in that sense. All the elements, themes-wise also. And, but I like that, they've taken really large concepts. Okay, so they have these huge concepts, like in one episode, which I particularly like, obviously, it's called the entire history of you, and in that obviously it's basically where you can record everything has been recorded, and you have like these tiny cameras in your
That was a
eyes.
great one.
Awesome
I loved
episode,
it.
but it's such
So
a
that-
large concept, right?
So that eye thing
Yeah.
features heavily in the second series.
In the second
another
series.
episode.
Okay,
same-
fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay,
similar,
so that's cool.
Which is great.
So, it might even, the whole reason why we're talking about Black Mirror is that now there's a 15 episode, I think, delivery.
12 episodes.
12 episodes.
Yeah.
For Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's great. Netflix picked up, again,
Yeah.
done a great job in picking up a great series.
Something I'm very excited about with this Netflix thing, it was just announced. They haven't announced really anything about it other than...
Yeah, I read this.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Joe Wright.
Joe Wright?
Joe Wright, the director?
Oh, he's doing it?
Yeah, I love him, and he's done some great stuff. I think he's the guy who's done, unless I'm confusing with Tom Hooper, but he's done, why the Soloist is coming to mind, I'm not sure. But yeah, so he did that. I think he's the guy who's done Atonement.
He's done Atonement, Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, Pride and
Anna
Prejudice.
Karenina.
Yeah, so Atonement,
And
again,
Pan.
one of my favorite movies ever. Like, when it came out, excellent movie. And so that guy's a solid director, and he takes really difficult topics. In fact, Atonement is a very, very difficult topic. It was a very difficult movie to make, and it's adapted from a book. So he's excellent, and he's going to do a
here's
great
another
job.
thing that I really like about their streak so far and what seems to be a continuing trend. So they have Joe Wright, they have Bryce Dallas Howard, like I said, who was last seen, I guess, in Jurassic World. Alice Eve,
Yeah,
who
that's
was
true.
in Star Trek Into Darkness.
She is the daughter of
She was the daughter of
dude.
the bad
of
guy.
this
The
guy
good guy turned bad.
of Murphy, RoboCop. Yeah,
That's right.
he's RoboCop.
He was Holy shit!
Yeah, I know,
Whoa.
right? Yeah, I know. I just
Whoa.
the original. And
Need
the
to go
best.
see that again and laugh
Yeah,
at it.
and just go
Wow.
like-
Well, so what I really like is, so with these names, and also, people like Donald Gleason and Haley Atwell.
Awesome episode.
In
Amazing episode.
Series 2, before they start doing like really big things like they are right now. They're not just, dropping giant A-list actors into their thing and expecting you to love it. Although they had John Hamm, and
John
that was
Hamm, yeah,
amazing.
apparently,
That episode was
Okay, I've not yet to see that. Yeah,
arguably my second favorite of the lot. But in general, other than John Hamm, I think they've always been using, I'm just going to say B-list actors for lack of a better word. They're not exactly B-list, but
they're not B-list.
they're
I mean,
not-
I guess they're
they're
A-list
not
in the
at
UK.
Yes, A-list in the UK, but still like
Not- yeah, fair
not
enough.
like major movie franchise big. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like this was Haley Atwell before she
Carter,
exploded. This is
yeah.
Donald Gleason before Star Wars.
Yeah. Though I don't think Star Wars is his.
This is true, yeah. He somehow managed, he's got a brilliant record. His resume is
Yeah,
amazing.
excellent resume. Yeah.
Yet somehow he's managed to go under the radar, which is great.
is great for
I think
him.
he's won. That's a big win.
Yeah,
if
it's
you
a
can do
full
that.
win, yeah, it's
but either
true.
which way. So what I like is having Bryce Dallas Howard and Alice Eve. Again, not the biggest names, but big enough names in their own right. And Joe Wright, no pun intended, also great resume, but still he's not the first director whose name's going to pop into your head. So I like
enough,
that
yeah.
this is a show which like has a lot at stake because it's like really, really intense,
Precise, yeah.
serious issues that need to be handled very delicately, and it's not thrown into Michael Bay's hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, Michael Bay is like one
That's
end
true.
of a spectrum.
Yeah,
sure.
that's true.
No, I mean, yeah, definitely. I can't remember, but whoever's the guys who have been directing like the first 2 series have been excellent. They've done it. And you know what I love about Black Mirror is like, like I love how all the episodes end. They don't end like with a, oh my god, we just dropped this bomb on you. It's not like a twist ending like Twilight Zone usually is. There is like a kind of a twist, but it ends very like, it's so unsettling.
Yeah.
Every time it ends, it's so unsettling. Like whether you take the first episode, where the Prime Minister has to have sex with a pig.
that's my favorite. That is by far my favorite.
It is also
episode.
my favorite one. And you know what? In a way, it's like, it was the most obscene thing I think Charlie Brooker could have done with, and that's why he started with it, and then the rest of it kind of goes into the science fiction element. But like, the way it ends is like, I love it. He's gotten over this thing. It's 1 year later and all that stuff. It's also mid-credits. It's really cool. It's a really BBC thing, actually, that they do.
I loved it.
And,
should
1
we
year
say
later.
statutory spoiler warning? Probably.
There are not really
it
very
basically
many
is.
spoilers in the show, but fair enough. Yeah,
kind of is.
spoilers, I guess, spoilers. But yeah, in the first episode, so the story is, there's a terrorist, and it's a completely relevant form of terrorism where somebody's kidnapped a princess and says you have to perform something on social media, which is I want the Prime Minister to have sex with a pig.
Yep.
And I just want to talk about this for a second. But yeah, and so ultimately they try everything, can't do anything. The Prime Minister has to go ahead with it. It's so bizarre, right? He has to actually go in and have sex with a pig. And I love that Charlie Brooker's addressed all the things that we think that if it actually happens, like, oh no, you can cut away, you can do these things.
Yeah.
He's like, no, do it Gonzo style.
Let's get CGI.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So he's addressed all this, like, no, you have to make sure this happens. It's a single camera, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So. And he goes ahead, he does it, he has sex with a pig, and it's foul. It is absolutely appalling. And by the end, it cuts to a year later, and I thought like Charlie Brooker saying, oh, there's hope for humanity, there's a hope for society, saying that the Prime Minister's fine, he's with his wife, everything's cool. In fact, his approval ratings has gone up, and he's like a kick-ass guy, he's normal, nothing has affected him so far. And then they throw in this last like curveball of a scene at the end where they enter 10 Downing, and they just go inside their home, and the wife is walking up the stairs, and he calls out to her, and she just ignores him, and she just walks up the stairs, and she can't get over that. I was like, oh my god, that's so like heartbreaking, but it was great.
I liked that it was personal. The thing about
So personal.
The thing about it which really struck with me. So I initially was not pleased when they revealed that it was essentially sort of like this big art piece for the antagonist, because like he didn't have any agenda behind it other than to humiliate the Prime Minister.
Yeah. It's a statement, yeah. Like
as a statement, right? I was like, okay, cool, art piece. It felt a little bit like a cop-out because like the stakes were so high. Initially, I thought it was a bit of a cop-out because the stakes were so high.
Right.
That, the whole world is watching this thing and this is vulgar as hell. Why are you doing this to him? What are you trying to prove? Are you trying to break the whole world into pandemonium over this thing?
Right.
And then eventually, when you see the Prime Minister sort of overcome this behemoth of an obstacle, I love that his intention was just to hurt him on a personal level, and like even though he got over it, the fact that the Prime Minister behind closed doors was traumatized for life now, and his relationship with his wife was tarnished completely.
Forever,
that was the win for that guy, whatever his name was, the antagonist.
Well, we don't know.
I took it away as the fact that he killed himself. So the guy commits suicide
30 minutes before the actual thing happens.
Because all he wanted was to make the Prime Minister's life miserable, as far as I could tell, to the extent that everybody else is aware of. You know what I mean? Like nobody else publicly would know just how deeply it would hurt the Prime Minister. Only the Prime Minister and his wife would be.
I didn't see it that way. I saw it the other way, which is that I felt like he's doing like the most vulgar thing. Like he's asking for the utmost like vulgar act and obscene act on a public forum just because he can. I mean, like I felt like, and they say it later on, is like the whole art piece part of it is that's what philosophers and culture specialists from the contemporary like society are saying, that saying, oh, they're viewing it as this. But this guy, I mean, he was just like, what's the freaking worst thing I can do to somebody? And he's like, sex with a pig. It's like so simple, but it's so like flipping bizarre that he just wants to see it. I mean, he just wants to see if somebody will go ahead with it. And ultimately, you find out that he kind of removes the finger and he shows, I've cut out a finger. You have to do this.
Yeah.
And then he realizes she's been unharmed. The princess has been. It's his own finger. Yeah. Which I was like, holy crap, that's crazy. So this guy is obviously he's a sociopath. He's crazy, and he's just done this as a statement, and it's just bizarre and weird. I do want to talk about one thing though. It's just so funny. This happened last year. I don't know if you remember the whole Lord Ashcroft anecdote of David Cameron.
No.
Do you remember this? So this was a huge thing last year. It happened, I think, in October. And this is the first thing everyone thought of, which is like, what does Charlie Brooker have to say about this? Which is so David Cameron, obviously, is Prime Minister. There was a unauthorized biography of somebody called Call Me Dave, I think it was called. And Lord Ashcroft in that has been cited as saying that David Cameron, as a youth in his university, as part of an initiation, he had to put his his penis inside the mouth of a dead pig. Okay? And this trended everywhere, okay?
Oh, wow.
It was crazy, like inside of, and that's a pig, right? And like everyone was talking about it, it's like, oh, how can, and obviously he dismissed it, he's like, these are crazy rumors, this is impossible, but obviously everyone was talking about it, exactly like Black Mirror. And the first thing was like, wow, what the hell does Charlie Brooker have to say about this? Because it's so real, like it was exactly that. It was a prime minister having sexual relations with a pig.
Nice.
And Charlie Brooker
Not
was
nice,
like,
but nice.
he had one tweet, which was that, he's like, wow, so Black Mirror is actually a documentary series. That's it.
No.
He just put it out. And it's just so funny, dude. And it was just so bizarrely surreal that this was a thing that was happening with the Prime Minister and a pig. And it was just like, and it was called Piggate. Like hashtag Piggate. And that's like, that's what happened. And this is just one example of how close to reality Black Mirror actually is. There's so many things which are just actually happening. Which is, I mean, obviously the second episode, if you look at it, is the whole reality show thing. By the way, what did you think of that episode? Like the setting of it, like, the fact that humanity has to, I mean, like these workers powering everything. Yeah, it's
that
like
was,
a cycle.
That was a interesting one for me. I mean, like I said, I guess what I liked about the first one, but the reason that one being my favorite was just because the stakes were very high from the word go. Like, it was very fast-paced. It was a thriller, essentially. Mm-hmm. Whereas the other ones were far slower and a lot more, with the exception of, I don't know if you've seen it, it's in the second series, where this girl is being hunted.
Oh, yeah, White Bear. No, I've not seen that. I've not seen it completely. It's a long time ago, though. Yeah.
So, anyway, but, the second one with the reality show, I liked it towards the end of it. It took me a long time, like the whole episode.
I think it's one of the longer episodes also.
It took a while for, the gravity of the situation to like set in,
yeah.
I was pretty indifferent about it. Like, so that's my beef with Black Mirror. Like, it's been very hit or miss for me, but the hits have been amazing.
Right.
And the misses have just been like, all right, it was fine. Like, I would never say I haven't seen a bad episode.
Right.
But there have been some episodes.
Bad. Nothing is
some
even
episodes
close to bad, yeah.
like sort of dragged on a little bit.
Fair enough.
Because I think like it started taking itself. I can't say it took itself too seriously because it is a very serious show. But I mean, it's that I think how do I put it? Maybe it sort of took way too much time just getting along with the story, and like I think like it took a lot for granted as far as the audience is concerned. Like, it didn't feel like it needed to earn the audience's attention. I feel like with every movie, every 5 minutes, you need, like, the audience needs to have a reason to keep watching it.
I don't know how much I agree with that completely, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, you need to earn the audience's attention.
And
definitely.
thing is, okay, so that argument I think can be nullified when you have a continuing narrative throughout a television series. When like I've seen 10 episodes with these guys with this
it's basically set up for a payoff that'll happen later on.
Exactly, but in this case, when you're building up a new world from the ground up with every episode, that's where I need you to give me every 5 to 10 minutes. I need a reason to keep watching.
Yeah, also bullet points probably just to kind of. I mean, they have done a decent job of that. It's like, so this is what I found is that they establish these humongous like concepts, right? Like this one is about literally these. Humanity is now reduced to people who cycle to power up a thing that keeps them bored while they cycle. It's like it's a vicious cycle, so to speak. Yeah. Exactly that. And and it took some time to like get to it and all that stuff. But like what I like about Black Mirror, and this is consistent for pretty much all the episodes that I've seen, is that they have taken these really, really large concepts, but they don't really dwell on them at all. They just don't try to explain the science behind it. They don't try and explore, there are plenty of loopholes, obviously, if you had to really delve into that. But they don't. And there's very tiny personal stories within those huge constructs. What I did like about the second episode is that have you seen the movie Network?
No.
Okay, so Network is, again, it's kind of like this. It's like about how people are so addicted to television, and it's an old movie. I can't remember who's the main actor, but there's this really beautiful speech that he gives at the end that, your people are losing their minds watching these screens every day and being so addicted to it and being governed by it and being, dictating your terms by it and everything like that. And very similarly, at the end of this episode, he does that really powerful speech, and he's so quiet in the entire thing, and like when he does that, it's just like, oh, that's so good, like such a great speech, and you don't know what's gonna happen after that, except he's like, I guess the twist in that is just like, wow, we'd like to put that speech on our channel, and then it just continues.
Have you seen Extras? The Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais, yeah.
Have you seen that Christmas special?
I can't remember the one with.
It's a 90-minute Christmas special where he goes on Big Brother.
Oh no, I don't think I've seen it.
I cannot recommend that Christmas special enough. Even if you've never seen Extras.
Extras is great though.
Even if you've never seen Extras, the 90-minute Christmas special alone is arguably one of my, easily in my top 10 movie type. It's basically a movie because it's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Of all time. I love that episode more than anything. And he does a very similar thing in that. And actually, that episode has a sort of Black Mirror-ness to it, told in a very Ricky Gervais voice.
Oh, right.
Which is great. Ricky Gervais is an incredibly smart wit.
Yeah.
And so the long and short of that episode of Extras, the reason I think there's a link here to Black Mirror is that because it's about him being an extra and, trying to make it in acting and struggling as an extra and hating that life. Somehow or the other,
this is after season 2, though. I mean, it's after series 2 where he's got his own show.
Yeah,
and
so
all
he's got a sitcom.
That's
getting millions of views.
What's it called?
When the Whistle Blows.
Yeah.
And
are you having a laugh?
You're having a laugh. Yeah. So he has been on this sitcom for quite a while now.
Right.
He's getting millions of views. He's pretty well off now because of it. He's very successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's having that classic artistic struggle within himself. He's like, I'm making money, but I'm doing crappy sitcoms and catchphrases, and I want to do real artistic stuff. And so he fires his agent and gets in with a big Hollywood or a big A-list agent who can only offer him either you take more crappy sitcoms and make that much more money because you're doing that really well, or you scrap it all, kill a cash cow, and start again from the bottom trying to be an artist.
Okay.
And so at the end he caves and he says, well, okay, fine, I'm gonna go on Big Brother and I'm gonna go on Doctor Who as a slug and things like that. And he does that. So when he's on Big Brother, at the very end of that episode, he has a breakdown. And he breaks the fourth wall, looks directly into the camera, and gives the exact same type of speech that gives in Black Mirror.
All right.
And what happens at the end is he says, screw you, Big Brother, screw you guys for watching this, screw you guys for making this show, everything about this is terrible, I hate everybody in this room, and I hate myself the most because I also volunteered to be here, so I'm gonna walk out. And he walks out off the Big Brother set, and then he's greeted by his agent, who's like, that was phenomenal, we gotta get you in front of more cameras.
My gosh.
And everybody loves him, and everybody's like, oh, let's do it. And then right before the big press conference, he leaves, and then the episode just ends with him sort of running away into the sunset.
So continuity-wise, this is the last episode of Extras.
It's the last episode of Extras.
Okay, cool.
So basically, he leaves acting, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah, he walks out of acting when he's at his highest peak.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because he got to his highest peak by sort of
I definitely need to watch this,
I can't recommend enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the other thing I want to mention about that episode, which I think happens in a few other episodes as well, but not as much as in this one, which is that since, again, like I said, they're building a story from the ground up with every episode, and you're building characters, and you're building the plot line, and you're building the whole status quo of everything.
Right.
Like you said, they don't explain the ins and outs and all the technicalities of the functioning of things. They sort of assume the audience will figure it out, which I love. I love that
that's great.
He respects the audience enough to let us figure it out.
Definitely, yeah.
But, so with this reality show thing, so you have the two main players, right? The two main protagonists.
Yeah.
The girl who can sing and
Abby.
the guy who's in love with her or tries to support her. But then the side characters, what I often found myself getting a little frustrated with is that
one-dimensional?
Very one-dimensional.
Of course they are. They were extremely one-dimensional.
I mean, that's the thing. I think you have to just approach this as a short film that a guy got a really big budget for.
Exactly.
Because
you
don't have to.
You can't make them.
The other guys,
the
only other two people that I remember of this episode, and I saw it 4 or 5 months ago. The only other two characters in this entire episode that I remember was the guy, the fat guy next to him on the bike, who was just a pig.
He's
and
an asshole,
insulting everybody and whatnot. And then the girl at the audition, this Irish girl, very fair skin and really odd colored hair. I
Yeah,
remember.
the red-haired girl. Yeah,
Was she redhead? Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
I think
sorry.
so. Yeah.
That's not wrong. I don't
No,
know.
there was a redhead dude. And,
there a redhead dude?
Yeah, and the other girl was like I don't know what.
The jerk. I think the jerk was a redhead dude.
No,
Whatever.
no.
Anyway.
There was one redhead
Anyway,
dude.
so
Yeah.
there's this other girl at the auditions with them who's incredibly over enthusiastic.
That one, yeah,
who's
she's white-haired. Yeah, she's got a
she had white hair,
blonde,
silver
yeah.
blonde kind of
Yeah.
hair. And so she was that opposite end of like, I'm an actor, or like I'm a singer. Like it was a little. So it had its campy moments in that respect, which I had to take with a grain of salt.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Well, fair enough. So
that happened only a few times.
I want
It wasn't
to
the
bring
worst.
this up. So my friend Harry, I was speaking to him about Black Mirror, and this is his take on it, and it's actually pretty accurate and something I want to talk about. He's like, every episode is like most people are sheep or evil or unforgiving or paranoid or sad or dumb. One person tries to change all of that, bad things happen, and they're gloriously executed. But also the tech thesis that it's all corrupting and brings out the worst, very Hollywood, bit contrived. So and this is very true. It's just
Yeah,
like
no, it's very
bringing
true.
back the real paranoia to technology, which, has been kind of offset in the past. I mean, like, I'm a huge Asimov fan. And what I love about Asimov is that he's depicted technology to be a great, beautiful human thing almost, that, it's sentient, it, has a conscience, and that we can use it to build great things and advance the society. Even though he's flouted his own rule in his book. But, I mean, Charlie Brooker's series, like Black Mirror, is that exact vision of what technology can, that everybody has, the whole AI, Skynet.
Yeah.
That's his thing. And I wonder about, and Harry is right in saying that, every single episode is about how the one person who's slightly humane and, has a conscience is like literally gloriously executed. Like the person who has a conscience doesn't get his way because, technology is all encompassing and overpowering and overbearing in that sense. So, I mean, yeah, it's a really sad way of looking at it. But that's the thing about Charlie Brooker. I mean, everyone's complaint about him is that he's an asshole and that, he has this, really sardonic way of looking at life. But I mean, like, I guess you need, all parts of the,
So here's
pie.
a question then. So I completely agree. It's most episodes are pretty depressing.
Yeah, they're depressing
for the most of it.
Yeah.
But do you think so? If Charlie Brooker tried to pitch any of these episodes as a self-contained full-length series on their own, like if he tried to like drag out the story, do you think any of them would actually work?
Hold out? Yeah.
Because I think like each one is so specific and like so like it just jams it down your throat.
Yeah.
You can only take it for so long. You know what I mean? Like before you get sick of it.
Fair enough. No, but having said that though, I mean, like his focus has never been on the actual technology of it.
Right.
It's been on the, like, for example, Entire History of You. It's literally about these two people. I mean, like, who are it's showing how technology can ruin a relationship. So
Wait, if Entire History of You was which episode?
the one with Toby Kebbell, the one basically where you can record everything.
The eye thing.
Yeah, the
Okay,
eyes,
yeah.
And basically he's used, the technology is almost incidental. It's like, what if this technology was there, how would a relationship like expand or collapse? And that's basically what the entire episode is about. And I love that episode. We'll actually talk about it in a bit. But yeah, that's basically what his whole thing has been, is that, the technology is incidental. It's literally, and like Charlie Brooker himself says, that it's one mistake away from things happening, or it's one piece of technology away from these things happening. And he's like, if those did happen, how would you and I behave or react and things like that? So I think it's less about, he's giving us a very small insight into, or look into one person's world rather than what is a overarching series or a theme and stuff. And I think that's what Charlie Brooker is great at.
Okay,
So, yeah.
I have a super existential question for you.
Okay, and then we'll take a short break.
Well, we'll see how long this goes. It's a very indulgent stream of thought I have right now for a second, which is that, so, yeah, he's throwing a lens on technology and like, like you said, what would we do if the rules are the way that his universe exists for us? If we had the same eye stuff that recorded everything we did, we could play it back at our leisure. Now, obviously, technology has grown at like a blinding fast pace.
It's exponential,
right?
yeah.
And it's only going to get bigger and bigger. And things that we dreamed of, have happened so much quicker than we expected them to.
Except for flying cars.
Except for hoverboards and flying cars and DeLoreans.
Yeah.
But that being said, as the technology gets to this point, and eventually some of these things, if not all of these things that he's imagined in his universe, could actually very well happen. But if well before they do happen, you have people like Charlie Brooker, and you have people like Asimov, and you have other artists basically out there across all kinds of platforms portraying these kind of things, which get watched by millions of people, which get talked about by people with with nothing else to do like us.
Right.
If these kind of discussions keep happening and this kind of stuff gets put out into the world very accessibly and open to the public, do you think we will actually degrade into these horrible circumstances these people get put into? Because I think one big thing is that his universe, when you integrate this technology into his characters' worlds, they don't seem to have had these big, philosophical debates.
They didn't have a Charlie Brooker exist in their world.
Exactly. They didn't have anybody call them out on using this stuff. But everybody was using these eye recording things as if it was willy-nilly like using a phone.
Yeah, fair enough. But so you're talking about basically, but I mean, so if you just take, so right now, because we live in this chunk of time, we cannot comment on it because we don't know what the future is. Right. But I mean, historians have been there like forever foretelling, saying like, Napoleon, don't do these things because this is going to happen. Yeah. But it almost appears like they're the one crazy guy in the science fiction disaster film, where nobody listens to him, blah, blah, blah. And it happens anyway. Yeah. So I think that's really that's one way of looking at it. I mean, I was just reading this funny article about, it was like an Onion type piece where it says psychology wards are filling up with time travelers. People claiming to be time travelers set to stop Donald Trump from becoming the president, right?
Yes.
So I thought that was hilarious.
That is awesome.
But I mean, yeah, sure, you have all these people. You have people, commentators, saying all these things. But didn't stop George Bush from becoming president.
Okay, so here's another thing, though. So I get what you're saying completely. But you're talking about single individuals with a lot of power in the hand. I'm talking about, like, say, the next thing that is the next Facebook. The next thing that everybody...
It's not Facebook.
A thing. It's a thing. Okay. It's not a person.
So let's talk about Facebook, in fact. And let's talk about what just happened, the Save the Internet organization, all that stuff, or Free Basics, as you call it. There was enough ethical row about it, or not even ethical. I mean, it's hardly ethical. But, I mean, there was enough common consensus, or at least everyone spoke about it enough on the very Black Mirrors that the show is about, that to kind of create the not dissent to us, but like at least just the change of opinion on it. And we don't have Free Basics in India because of that, because people went and said don't do this, and we had people like Vishal Dadlani talk about it and say, listen, don't do this, and we had other people saying, no, this is a good idea, but the people with, so to speak, common sense won the bet. I don't know if Free Basics is good or not. Like I still have my reservations about it, but I mean, I don't think it's I think this is another discussion about Free Basics, which we should do. But my point is that it did change the game, man. So I mean, we should not rule it out completely. Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely a thought. I mean, that people like Charlie Brooker are required in this world to just give our opinion,
give us a moral compass of some sort.
Yeah, an ethical compass, man. And there are going to be more and more people out there, thanks to, social media, man, and thanks to people making shows like Black Mirror. So I guess, it should make a difference. Whether, the other question is, are we in one continuous time loop, or which cannot be changed? Is like time fixed? Is a very science fiction-y question. Is there an alternate timeline where once we change something, there's a multiple universe, like the ripple effect? Like that's the other way of looking at it. Is that we're stuck with our universe. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Yeah. We can't really change anything, even if one person says something. But whatever we're doing is affecting the future. So we're
my head hurts. Let's take a break. Let's do that.
Let's take a break, and we're going to talk about Robert Downey Jr.
You can listen to Cyrus Says from our apps on iOS, Android, or our website, cyrussays.in. You can also listen to services like iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcasting softwares. It's cyrussays.in.
And we're back on the Geek Fruit Podcast.
Hello.
I don't know what ad just played. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what ad just played.
You weren't listening?
I mean, I was...
It was very informative.
Tell me more about it.
In a 30-second time frame. It was very succinct, very precise.
Cool.
Very
I'll
accurate.
take your word for it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Which one was it, though?
It was very compelling. It was
okay, cool.
Brilliant.
So, man, we actually ended up speaking a lot about Black Mirror already. Yeah. I have only like a couple more things which I wanted to talk about. So, I don't know if this is the connection, but you mentioned Joe Wright. Is now doing, I think, is he directing one episode, or he's doing a couple?
At least one. They've only told us about the one that he's doing, which involves Alice Eve and Bryce Dallas Howard.
So, I mean, so now they're doing these 12 episodes for Netflix. Is there going to be a continuing theme here, or is it just going to be a mix of, it's going to be singular?
I imagine it's going to be the same.
Okay, just a larger run of episodes, that's it.
Yeah, just more series.
Okay, nice. Awesome.
Same deal.
That's great. So,
I want to talk about
Joe
RDJ.
Yeah,
Oh.
so Joe Wright directed a film with Robert Downey Jr. I don't know if that's how he it's called The Soloist. It was all right. But I don't know if that's how Robert Downey Jr.'s company kind of got a wind of Black Mirror.
about the entire history of it.
Yeah, so they want to produce, and like I think they've got the rights for it to do a movie adaptation of the entire history of you.
So I have here that in 2013,
Right.
they were potentially going to do it, but then
Right.
I haven't
Has it
heard
fallen?
anything. I haven't
Okay.
heard anything since then, and I feel like at this point he's got enough on his. Well,
He's got this small thing called the
though
Avengers.
his run is ending, and Black Mirror coming back, he might well do
I mean, he
a
won't
series,
have,
or like an episode.
No,
maybe.
I think if he does, he's a Hollywood actor. He's not going to do.
Well, John Hamm did it.
Unless he'll feature in Black Mirror, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll happen the other way around. Like, as in, like, he's not gonna do like an episodic thing. Like, he won't. I mean, but I guess it amounts to the same thing. But he wanted his company involved,
Right.
and I can see the potential of it. Obviously, I mean, first of all, Toby Kebbell, man, in that episode. Do you know who he is, by the way?
Who?
Can I blow your mind? He's in Planet of the Apes, dude. In Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah?
He's the villain. Kobu. Damn it, I can't remember. But he's the villain. He's a motion captured guy
Oh.
across Andy Serkis,
very
who did an
cool.
excellent job. He was so good in that.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think he's been doing more and more like motion capture things, and he's actually a really cool, really good actor. That's the other thing about the series, man. There's been some like really good performances, man, from the guy who plays the Prime Minister.
I
Rory,
forget his name.
Rory
I love
Kinnear.
his name.
Rory
I
Kinnear.
love his name. I love him.
Yeah.
And Kinnear's a good name too, so I like it as well.
Like Greg Kinnear.
And Rory.
Rory, yeah. Rory. Yeah. But awesome
Which is
acting,
a-
man. So good. I mean,
Very
Haley
good.
Atwell, anyway, we love Haley Atwell. Speaking of which, by the way, and we should probably get to this at the random news generator, but she's leaving Agent Carter, I hear. We'll talk about it.
Hey, what?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We're talking about it a bit. But like, to sum up Black Mirror, yeah. So the other thing I wanted to draw some comparisons was also in, not entire history of you, in Be Right Back, the one with Donald Gleason and Haley Atwell. Yeah, obviously,
yeah, that's right.
lots of comparisons to Her, the movie Her by Spike Jonze.
Yeah, of course.
So did this come out before that?
I don't know.
I think it
actually.
should
This
have,
was-
right?
This was 2013.
Okay.
I want to say Her was
Also 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
That long ago?
2014? Yeah. It was at least 2 years. It was 2 Oscars ago, I remember. Because he won the Best Adapted Screenplay or Best Screenplay, Original Screenplay, I think he did. So, I mean, you might as well just Google it. But, yeah, man, obviously lots of similarities there. Just slightly different in the sense that this is a company that provides you a
came out in
service.
2013.
Yeah? So there you go.
There you
Quite similar. I'm actually surprised that the comparisons weren't drawn back then itself. But yeah, man. And just this one is about how you can still communicate sort of like with a ghostish version of the deceased, which is in Black Mirror, and the other one is like, making an artificial partner. But I mean, still strange, man. Like, it was a weird episode. Like, again, like that they didn't go into how it's even possible that there's a really like almost accurately physical representation of the deceased, like who's moving and walking.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was biased when I saw it because I love Donald Gleason and I love Haley
Both of them,
Atwell. So I was
yeah.
like, this is amazing. This is a match made in heaven. This
Yeah,
is
it is,
fantastic.
yeah.
But that also, was one of those little too artsy-fartsy. Like, I didn't really... I felt like that was one of the tamest as far as, messing with your head and making you question, like, what if? And because, like, that, I think... the tech stuff, like, having a chip implanted so
Yeah.
that you can record stuff from your iris,
Right.
it seems far more plausible to me than resurrecting the dead and, like, downloading their... Like, but a movie like Her never made me, like, go... Whoa, I wonder if that'll happen. Because if that does happen, I will not be alive. I will be... I'm pretty sure that is not going to happen in our lifetime. If something like
I think
sentient...
but we are close
artificial
to it.
intelligence...
We're so close to it.
To that extent of, like, reanimating a body and, like... Because if you remember, like, some guys bring his body, like, torn up into bits that she,
I
like,
know.
is, like, sew together. Oh, no, she
basically
puts him in a bathtub. Yeah, like...
it's almost like a satire on like old school science fiction.
The weird thing about it is that, like... Oh, well, yeah, you haven't seen the Christmas special.
No, I haven't yet.
Ah,
Yeah, actually, I need to get around to that.
I kind of don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah.
We did say
Yeah.
spoilers, though. But don't spoil that for me. But just the thing about, I mean, like I said, didn't focus much on this technology. Obviously, it's really hard. But here, I read this article. I can't remember on what website. I think it was Verge. I can't remember. But it says 5 times Black Mirror was strangely accurate. So one obviously was Piggate, which we spoke about, David Cameron thing.
Yeah.
One of the other points that was mentioned was the whole technology of, I mean, obviously I also mentioned the Google, how Google is developing this camera which can be put in like a contact lens and that can record everything.
Yeah.
And the third thing was about a company that is trying to basically take social media reserves, any online interaction that people have had to kind of recreate them like an artificial intelligence version of them based on obviously all your responses and everything that's been recorded online. So man, that stuff is, I mean, it may not happen in our lifetime in like a fully realized version of it, and I hope it doesn't ever, but
the only piece of tech right now that I can think of that I think genuinely is at a really
like cutting edge?
No, not cutting edge, but I think in its impact, I think is not necessarily bad in that I'm having a hard time like phrasing this right, but things like dating apps, I think, are having the biggest effect on society.
It's interesting.
You know what I mean? Because Facebook is fine because it does so many different things. It satisfies a whole lot of different needs that we have. Yeah. But dating apps, I think, get you in at the most primal thing of like actually meeting people.
It's
and
funny
like,
it's taken so long to make it happen like at this level, right? Like, I mean, I guess there were dating websites. I mean, you have your shadi.coms and all your, and you have Ashley Madison also, crazy freaking website, which is literally about having extramarital affairs. By the way, what is the government's stance on that? Have they ever tried to shut it down? It's a thing, right?
What?
I think like Ashley Madison is a real thing. Like, it is. So it's not been like.
I really don't know much about.
I guess it's frowned upon.
I have not looked up Ashley Madison recently.
I guess it's frowned upon by society. That's the only thing, right?
So I hope so, because it's weird as hell.
It's weird. No, but yeah, man, things like Tinder or Happen or and things like that. Just, I mean, why did it take so long for somebody to just like say, hey, you know what? We'll just use like technology that has existed for a long time, like making profiles and using geosocial stuff, and just put that together for people.
Have you seen Aziz Ansari's stand-up about
modern romance?
About dating apps? He had a very good point on that.
Did you watch Master of None?
Yeah,
awesome show. Such a good show.
Very good show.
Great show.
Yeah, but I feel like dating apps could potentially get out of hand to the point at which. I just want to keep using History View as the core reference here.
Yeah.
I feel like dating apps, if they continue on the trend that they're going right now, in which more and more people are getting on them, more and more people are relying on them.
And more people are finding people on them.
Yeah. Successfully and some not. But whatever.
Mostly
people
not.
Are finding people.
I think we are prime
people
examples.
Are relying on it. I think that's my main point. People are relying on it as much as they are. I feel like if that continues the way it is, without anybody sort of addressing it to the extent that Black Mirror does about things like recording everything you do.
And ending relationships that way,
Yeah, I think like that is the one thing that I could feasibly see happening the quickest amongst all these scenarios that he's painted out.
Maybe. I do have one thing about that episode, the entire history of you. And this is against nobody or nothing. These are fictional characters. But my only question is that they're saying, oh, technology is so bad. You see what it's done to this relationship. But she totally cheated on him. Like,
Oh, yeah, it's true.
She just cheated on him. Whether you found out using technology or whether you found out, like, by reading texts in our day and age. Yeah. I mean, like, what's the difference? You cheated on him. It's not, like, technology's fault. But it help you live a good life.
But that's an argument that I think, like, millions of couples have had. Being like, oh, my God. I saw your text that you texted what's her face, and I know you're going behind my back. And then the guy goes, "Why are you looking at my text? You're invading my privacy." So then it's like, who's wrong there? So it's a matter of how you handle the text.
But
right?
She did cheat, and he found out that truth. Yeah,
but then there's always an argument of like, why would you go so far? So why don't you just ask me straight up, or like why don't you?
But he does, right?
No, I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about real life scenarios that I've heard a million times over.
Obviously, but I mean, like, okay, let's put it this way. I mean, obviously, nothing is black and white.
We're not defending anybody.
We're not defending anybody. We're just saying that, dude, if you cheat, you're an asshole. Just like, don't do that, right? Whether I found out using like, so what the real reaction in that episode is that this guy goes and he literally threatens this guy's life and everything, and that's wrong. Obviously, that's their business. So that's why the whole psychosocial part of it. But the other part is like, he used the recordings to see. I mean, it's much harsher because it's almost like you're
living it again.
It's crazy, right? It's so surreal. But I mean, you cheated, dude. And there's the other question. This is a completely ethical one. It's like, what you don't know should not hurt you, in that sense.
Yeah.
And you're right about privacy and things like that. That whose real call is it to say, between two people? Difficult question.
I just remember like a really impactful scene that I totally forgot about.
Right.
Was when they were having sex, but again, just playing back old memories of the first time they had sex.
Yeah, so that's much better, I guess.
Yeah, basically, because they were just like lying there motionless, bored,
just going through the motions. Yeah, pretty much.
But then like playing back the other thing.
Yeah, very powerful.
Should you feel bad about doing that? You know what I mean? Like, so those questions I was far more interested.
For sure, definitely.
I was more interested in then.
Yeah.
Like I said, with the I keep forgetting the name of the episode. The
entire history of
no, the other one, the reality show one.
It's called. God damn it!
I have the list in my hand. I can just open this up. But the reality show one, like, so that one relied far more on like other players, like the joke and the really enthusiastic girl, to sort of build up the scene. I liked History of You a lot because it was much like the Christmas episode. Far more just about two people and their own interpersonal relationship rather than about the tech involved.
It's called 15 Million Merits.
15 million minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. The last point, which was there on that article which I was reading, that 5 times that Black Mirror was closer to reality. The other one was about something that just happened recently, which is that in the 3rd episode of the 2nd series, it's about the comedian who becomes a actual political candidate almost by accident, by sheer social media.
Yes.
So apparently
the Waldo moment.
Yeah, the Waldo. Yeah, and apparently that's something very similar happened this time. Do you know that in this election, the U.S. election that is going on right now, there was a third-party candidate who announced himself as D's Nuts. Okay, DEEZNUTS. D's Nuts. So D's Nuts was a proper, and he went through all the proper things, and he was actually a legit candidate, and he won 7 to 8% of a lot of like a couple of states, so he was a legit guy until they found out that D's Nuts was a 15-year-old boy from Iowa who
wait, don't you have to be like 35?
Exactly. So which is why he was trying to run for Speaker of the House of Representatives, right? And like he was just like, and they asked him, how did this happen? He's like, I was so fed up of this 2-party system, which is so funny because in India but he's like, I'm so fed up with this 2-party system, this whole bipartisanship and all that stuff that I really just want. And he did it, and he's like, he was a legit candidate, and he was a comedy, like satirical kind of candidate, but it was like, it just took off. And obviously a lot of people have said, if you're any third-party candidate, the odds are you'll get 7 to 8%. But the fact that people are also like bummed out and saying, D's Nuts is far funnier. It's like in Canada, I think, or New Zealand, where enough people wrote Jedi as a religion that it became an actual thing that had to be accounted for. Like, they actually had to census that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I think it's something like that. When people are so frustrated, they'll just go for the other option.
When I was in college, all 4 years of college, the student government open election that the entire student body could vote for, 1,200 students.
Yeah.
In the top 5 every single time, Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chewbacca would always get in the top 5 every semester.
Amazing.
Because he's deserved it. He's been through so much.
He's been through a lot.
So many wars.
too many Star Wars.
Best friends.
Yeah, my God. And
but
for millions of years.
On that note, let's move swiftly.
So let's move on to random news.
Other thing we do.
Random news.
Random news generator.
Cool. So
I have one that's actually very relevant to what we were just talking about.
Okay, I have one which just broke like literally this morning.
Okay, you go.
Okay, so I'm going to start. This is absolutely random compared to the rest of the episode. So, J.K. Simmons is going to be Commissioner Gordon.
Yes. Yeah.
How bizarre is that?
That's awesome.
Immediate first thought was was like J. Jonah Jameson is going to be Commissioner Gordon. He's going to be like, Batman? Who's Batman?
Who's he? There aren't very many people that have gone cross DC and Marvel like that. There are like only a handful.
Ryan Reynolds, I guess.
Yeah.
And Ben Affleck, actually.
True. Yes. Yeah. No,
But
very
yeah,
excited.
I'm
Awesome.
excited. Of course, I'm excited. But how
Is he
going to
have the mustache?
He definitely will have the mustache.
Because then he's going to look exactly like his other character.
Yeah, this is very strange. I don't know. So they won't make they'll probably make him really like scruffy. He's probably not going to play like over energetic. Especially if we're seeing Batman as his old age, like veteran Batman, then we're going to see Commissioner Gordon even older. He's only 10 years older, I think. No, he's about 15 years older than Bruce. And here's the other thing. I don't know if I should say this, but this is rumors that have been going on. But that there's a Barbara Gordon in this.
Oh yeah.
And Jenna Malone, I think, is playing her. So
who's she? Jenna Malone. I know the name.
I don't know. I just saw the name, and I think she's been in a couple of things. But so she's apparently playing Barbara Gordon, and she's also, I guess, and she's. I think that's why they also cast J.K. Simmons, because they just want they want an older actor to be able to, like somebody who can, be a father to this character. So yeah, J.K. Simmons is awesome, man. This is a great selection, dude.
Yeah,
what a great actor.
I'm thrilled that like a solid, serious actor like that is taking on a role that has always sort of
he's
been...
funny also. I mean, like, he's a
very
comedic
funny.
actor.
I mean, but I'm glad that Gordon has somehow like been elevated, very much I think in part because of Gary Oldman, but I think Gordon has been elevated to this point where he needs to be handled by a very specific,
you're right,
talented, qualified actor.
Yeah, remember in the Tim Burton ones, it was just like that random guy. I mean, like, it was not an important character, but Gordon is like as important as, say the Joker or any of the villains. A really, really important side character, supporting character in this case.
I found Jenna Malone, famous for Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, right? She's the hot one in Hunger Games.
Famous for
did I just say that?
Sucker Punch. Famous for Stepmom.
Oh, that's why Sucker Punch, dude.
Donnie Darko.
Okay, nice.
Pride and Prejudice.
Nice.
Not bad. She's got a
a good, I think
Into the Wild. Oh, right. She's in Into the Wild.
Oh, right. But I see the Snyder connection.
Amazing
because
soundtrack.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Jenna Malone, will she be Batgirl or will she be Oracle? Who knows? Will the Joker do that?
Stay tuned.
Still don't know. But yeah, man, really interested in J.K. Simmons' take. I think he's not going to be that, he's going to be even more jaded, in fact.
And it's a 2-part movie, so I mean, he's going to be in it for a
Right,
while.
he's in Justice League. He's not in this movie.
No, he's not in this one. He's in Justice League.
Yeah, he just got cast.
He may
but where he will feature is that, I'm telling you, the moment this movie bombs, and everyone realizes that they only want to see Batman again, is when the Batman movies will be greenlit, and that's when he's going to be there. Yeah. I'm telling you, 100%. Or he's definitely going to feature in the next Suicide Squad if that doesn't bomb, which doesn't seem. I mean, like, it looks.
I'm very hopeful. I don't want these movies to suck.
Well, we've been good this year, man. Deadpool super hit 653
I'll let you know when
million.
I see it.
Yeah, 653 million, huh? It's made, and it was made on 60 million. So that's crazy, man. That's already crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So J.K. Simmons, very good.
Let's take a hard left turn.
Okay.
So I was saying what I have is sort of relevant to what we were just talking about before this political stuff and D's nuts, etc.
D's nuts, yeah.
There is, I collect. I've just started a collection of Funko bobbleheads.
Yeah.
They have now made Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, and Hillary Clinton
you see?
Funko bobbleheads.
Oh my gosh! Which one are you gonna pick? You say because Jishnu, by your own admission, you say you only collect one from each universe.
Yeah. I have a Groot. I have an Iron Man. I have a Donatello from the Turtles.
You have Coulson and Lola.
Coulson and Lola. That's my pride and joy. It's a very cool card.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I have some other stuff.
You have a Stormtrooper.
What you got me? A few things. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. So
the burn, the Trump.
It depends on November, I suppose.
No, I feel like I should get it before then.
You should get in remember. No, but see,
in memoriam.
In memoriam, you know how all of these just transpire into oblivion. The candidates who don't make it. In fact, I just saw a video of Mitt Romney. Condemning Donald Trump, which was so funny. And I was like, oh yeah, Mitt Romney, he's a guy who existed.
Yeah.
That's invariably going to happen, I think, unless Hillary runs again or Donald Trump even runs again or Bernie Sanders.
This is not the last you've heard of Trump, no matter what.
This might just well be the last time you've heard of Bernie Sanders, I'm saying. Because he's so old.
Because he's going to die.
He's close.
Sure. Yeah. But Trump and Clinton, they will be around for a while. They're not going
Clinton,
anywhere.
for sure. Yeah, definitely. Wow, strange. So I think I think maybe Bernie Sanders in that case, because we just like him. He's featured on this show.
He is featured on the show.
I mean, yeah, and just generally. And by the way, D's Nuts also supports Bernie Sanders as the Democratic.
Does D's?
Does D's? Yeah, he does.
D's does indeed.
He does. Yeah.
Indeed.
So
he does.
yeah, man. So that's our show, I guess. Wow, Black Mirror, huh?
Who knew?
But no announcement about when the next one is out. Not yet, right? But
2016.
this year.
Sometime in 16. Yeah.
We are in 2016. Yes,
So
we
sometime
are.
in 16. So probably end of the year, I guess.
Excited.
Yeah.
Till then, there's lots of Netflix to do, I suppose. Yeah, cool.
Finally got on that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Which one?
The 600
600,
package.
yeah.
The one,
That's the
the
best
one
one.
everybody's on.
Yeah.
'Cause I still don't know what Ultra HD means.
I think it's for people who have really, really high, those 4K televisions.
So is it 4K? Because I feel like if it was 4K, they would say 4K.
But I think the Ultra HD
What
just
does it
sounds, it sounds like the superlative of HD. That's why they just said it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
whatever.
cool. So, great episode, man. If anybody has any comments which they'd like to feature on the show and talk about, we actually should we announce the episode topic before and then go ahead with it? Maybe a couple of days before? I don't know. Sometimes we just pick on the spot, that's why.
This is true.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll see.
Maybe we should plan things ahead.
Maybe we should plan things ahead is what our producers also tell us. But yeah, man, I think we could definitely reveal what the topic of that. And then if you have any opinions on that, you can let us know on contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. You can find us on social media with the handle @geekfruithq on Twitter, Facebook, and what else?
Instablam.
Instablam. And what else? I think Snapchat. We were just doing some Snapchat today. We swapped our faces today. So that was interesting. I just had your beard, so I looked like Abraham Lincoln.
It was very disturbing. I don't look like Abe Lincoln.
No, but I just had the beard from your beard, so that's why. So that's what happened. Anyway, so I did that. We swapped faces. Something very creepy that could only happen in a future like Black
Dystopia.
Mirror, dystopia. And and you can also go to our website, geekfruit.in, where we're reviewing some comic books which we got from Comic-Con. So yeah, that's all it is, I guess. See you when we see you.
Bye, nerds.
Hey Jishnu, you remember that time we were on Cyrus's podcast?
What's a Cyrus?
Let me tell you, if you like listening to our show,
Who does? Let's be honest.
everyone,
Oh, then, I guess as long as we're being honest.
then they will definitely love people like Cyrus Brocha, who has an amazing podcast. Which we
The
were on.
Cyrus Brocha?
The Cyrus Brocha. There is only one. And his podcast is called Cyrus Says. And it's hosted by him also.
He's a man of many talents.
He is very, very, very talented. And irreverent. And he talks about everything in that style, I guess. Like current events. Urban India. Current events in urban India. Politics. Sports. Political sports. Civic senses. Civic sense? What's that? I have no idea. But
I
she
failed
talks about
civics in
it.
school, so I don't know.
What, really?
I think I did. I don't remember. It was
No
a
wonder.
while ago.
No wonder. Traffic, food, kids. I don't want to mix those up. And everything, pretty much. He talks about everything, and he's great.
This sounds like fun.
We were on it, and he spoke about our stuff also.
That was a lot of fun.
He's actually quite a nerd, also. He knew his stuff, so yeah, he's solid. So everyone, go listen to him on ivmpodcast.com.
What you said.